within the world of college basketball. We're fired up here at 1010XL and ready to go on another resounding edition of the program. Philip Rosman Reich will join us in about 20 minutes. He's going to speak on the Magic. He's the host of Locked On Magic as well as the editor of Orlando Magic Daily. And Sean Powell of NBA.com is going to join us at the bottom of the hour to discuss a few teams around the association, including what could be a first-round matchup for the Orlando Magic and the New York Knicks coming off of a victory against the Sacramento Kings. Question of the day for you guys on the text line. Hit us up, 641-1010. Who's the fifth best Magic player of all time? I've been wondering this for a minute now. I mean, I don't want to give it to Paolo yet. That's why I'm asking. If you have Shaq, T-Mac, Penny, Dwight, I would believe that's four set in stone. Who's the fifth guy? Could you make an argument for Hedo? Could you make an argument for Nick Anderson? Darrell Armstrong? I don't know. Let me know on the text line, and we will discuss that further. But let's stay with the Orlando Magic here, because I don't know if you guys have been keeping up on social media, but no love from the national media when it comes to the Orlando Magic. Not digging the team yet, or not giving them their respect, I should say. Not showing any love to Paolo. He caught a stray from Big Waz on the Ringer, saying that San Antonio has a better 5 years than the Orlando Magic because San Antonio has Wemby, who's looked at as a generational talent, as opposed to the Orlando Magic, who have Paolo Banchero, who's not considered, I guess, a generational talent. Excuse me, what? I mean, San Antonio has a long way to go. This Orlando Magic team has a great opportunity this year to send a message and make a statement, don't you think? You really giving a stray like that to Paolo Banchero? Here's another guy who I don't think believes yet in Paolo Banchero and the Orlando Magic. And funny enough, he just got his jersey number retired by the team in Shaquille O'Neal. And Adam Lefkoe, who's a believer of this Orlando Magic team, says that he believes that there's no team within the NBA's Eastern Conference that wants to see Orlando, because it's going to be a tough matchup in a 7-game series by the time we hit the postseason. He asked Shaq on the short list of NBA players to hit that next wave, and he included Paolo in this, when it can be the jump from going to star to superstar. Shaq doesn't believe Paolo has the juice quite yet.
Paolo Banchero, Anthony Edwards, and then Tyrese Halliburton. Do you think any of them can make the leap?
I thought you was going to give me three. You only gave me two.
Which one of those doesn't count?
Paolo.
Paolo doesn't count?
Yeah, because you got to understand, when you say jump, my jump is different than your jump. When I say jump, it's pew.
So you're saying Paolo can go from really good player to star.
Yes.
Ant and Tyrese could go from star to superstar.
Nope, I didn't say Ant Tyrese. Ant is close. Ant's the guy. He's right there. Tyrese, because nobody's really looking at him, he can hit that Star Trek button. We already got eyes on that. Many superstar, we know who you are. Tyrese, pew. You forgot a name, SGA. If you look at a guy like him and Luka, guys that play at their own pace, what if they up the pace a little bit? It's not going to slow him down. SGA is, every time you speed him up, he takes off. So me, it would be Tyrese Halliburton, SGA, and I got to go with Victor.
So here's the problem the Orlando Magic have right now. And I'm going to try to look at this two ways when it comes to Shaquille O'Neal. They're not on TV as much as, say, a Minnesota, who's been now in the public eye with Anthony Edwards. They've made the playoffs, haven't made it out of the first round, but they've been on TV a lot more than this Orlando Magic team has been in quite some time. Same thing with SGA. Look at it now, say, why did the Clippers trade this guy? And now he's doing amazing things in Oklahoma City. Tyrese Halliburton, Indiana just hosted this year's All-Star game. They also made it, I believe that was towards the finals of the midseason tournament that the NBA had. They're being looked at. I'm a fan of the Orlando Magic. If you're listening here, I'm assuming you're a fan of the Orlando Magic. We know Shaq, I don't know if he's watching Orlando Magic basketball. Is that his league pass team when he's not on the NBA on TNT? Is that his league pass team that he's saying, man, I got to watch these guys? With the national media, are they saying, I got to watch the Orlando Magic? Are they kind of this team? I do want to look at this playing devil's advocate for Shaq, though. Could he be doing something very, very sneaky? Because he said that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar did something to him that put him in a position to where he wanted to go harder and prove himself further. This is what Shaq had to say during an interview a couple years back.
96 through 99 was a frustrating point. I don't know about, well, maybe a little bit for you, but for me, being one of the best bigs in the league and having that title of not winning one, I think it took toll on both of us. You know, I wanted to get it. You wanted to get it. I admit I was probably crazy. Well,
we both weren't necessarily stable.
Because my thing is, I didn't want to, for us and for me, I didn't want to have that title of, they ain't got one yet.
Right.
I remember one day reading in the paper, oh, Shaq's averaging 20 or 30 and doing this, and the great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar said, well, he didn't win none yet.
Right.
So is he great? And that just kind of,
yeah.
You know.
Do you guys remember when Shaq first got into the league, that commercial that he did with Reebok? Never Fake the Funk on a Nasty Dunk, and had all the great centers, Bill Walton, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I believe Wilt was still alive at that point. And he does a monstrous slam. He breaks the glass. They say that's not enough. And they give him the broom. They have him sweep up the glass. And he said, also in a roundtable discussion, that that's the pressure in which he put on himself to become a better player. Now, what he's saying, what Kareem did, Shaq's admitted he also did the same thing to Dwight Howard. Like, this is okay. This is cool. The numbers that you're averaging, they're cool right now. Can you average this? And in Shaq's mindset, or in Shaq's category, had to win. One of the most dominant players that the league had ever seen at that point. Hadn't won a championship yet. Had been to an NBA Finals with the Magic. But now he goes to the Lakers. He's the face of yet another franchise. You're now getting into 98, 99. Kobe's not Kobe just yet. Shaq has to be the guy to lead this team towards the NBA Finals, which ultimately he did, and wins 3 with the Lakers and 1 with Miami. Could he be putting the same pressure on a guy like Paolo Banchero? Because if he is watching Orlando Magic basketball, you understand Paolo's averaging 22, 6, and 5. Was an all-star this year. Won Rookie of the Year last year. All-star this year. You know another player who did that? Shaquille O'Neal. You can't tell me that you're that sleep on the Orlando Magic. But I understand it because nobody's checking for this team. Nobody saw this. I admit it, I didn't. I've spoken with guys like Hacker, John O'Leary, Graham Marsh. Nobody's checking for this. Maybe next year. We all said maybe next year there'll be a good team. Maybe make the play-in, but now you're talking about a top 6 seed. Could potentially be a team that hosts a first-round playoff series. Could potentially go to the Eastern Conference semifinals this year. Paolo understands, it seems to me, that there's no love yet. However, he is saying you may not know our names now, but in an interview he did with Taylor Rooks, he's saying you'll get to know us.
I feel like you aren't getting much attention, or at least the attention that you deserve. Do you feel that way at all?
I would be lying if I said I didn't, but I don't look at it as a bad thing because I feel like it's been the story of my life basketball-wise. I mean, I've always been a fairly highly touted player, but like since the 9th grade, it's been the same story. I mean, I've gotten used to it, and I've gotten used to kind of working in the shadows and then popping up at the right time. So I feel like that's what's happening right now. Like, for me and the team and the Magic in general, you know, it's like, you know, whatever. We're not getting the attention, the TV games, whatever you want to say, but we're going to be on TV in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you know, eventually it's going to come to the light. I think we're a very entertaining team.
You are.
Yeah, I think if people watched us, they would fall in love with us fairly quickly. But for whatever reason, you know, we haven't got that recognition. But I think no one in the locker room is tripping. Like, we know that winning trumps all. And so, you know, once we get in the playoffs, all those games will be in front of everybody, and we'll get a chance to show it. But till then, you know, we're just going to keep doing what we're doing.
Your mindset now, if you're the Orlando Magic, and I said this a couple weeks ago, that you needed to get the 4 and host a playoff series, you now have to win your first round playoff series. Your mindset now has to be akin to Eric B. and Rakim. You got to keep the NBA and national media eager to listen. I called this team the sleeper team. Said they could hurt somebody's feelings. New York looks really good over their last few games. If you can get the 4 seed, which you still have a chance to do, if you can get the 4 seed, you have an opportunity to potentially beat the Knicks in the first round. And all the games are going to be nationally televised. Yes. If you make it to the Eastern Conference semifinals, and Paolo Banchero is doing what he's been doing this season, Jalen Suggs takes that next step as the third guy in the big 3 along with Paolo and Franz Wagner. Come next year, it's not just us as Orlando Magic fans donning the Orlando Magic gear. All the cool kids in the national media, they're doing that too. This is the first time really in years, maybe since the Dwight era, that the Orlando Magic are a team that can go, to use Shaq's terminology, from one place to outer space if they play their cards right. This is such an exciting time for the Orlando Magic. We'll speak more on the Orlando Magic, however, with Philip Rossman-Reich. He is the host of Locked On Magic. He'll give us all the latest on the Magic's playoff run. And can Paolo take the next step as a superstar within the NBA's elite? This is Open Gym on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
What's that? Find 1010XL on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram by searching 1010XL and follow the conversation on social media, because listening at the dinner table would be rude.
How's Wingstop sound? Crispy, juicy, classic wings. Made to order, cooked to perfection, and sauced and tossed in those 11 soul-satisfying flavors. Paired with hand-cut seasoned fries, house-made honey mustard, blue cheese, or signature Wingstop ranch. And, of course, spicy Cajun fried corn. I think you've heard enough. Get your flavor delivered at Wingstop.com.
I had an important job, and it wasn't just a job, it was keeping my brothers and sisters safe. And coming back, it felt like kind of thrown away. If it hadn't been for Wounded Warrior Project, I honestly don't know if I would be here. It was like, I got my family back again. We all felt the connection, like that brother and sisterhood.
See how Wounded Warrior Project empowers women veterans like Donna by visiting woundedwarriorproject.org/empowerwomen.
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. With the weather starting to turn for the better, look ahead. Get that backyard ready for spring with a new screened-in enclosure. Maximize the space you have and make it great with Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. They truly are best in the business. If you have the space and the idea, give them a call today. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway. Tell them Prosser sent you, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Are you tired of living with constant pain from torn ligaments or nagging tendinitis and bothersome joint pain? Say goodbye to endless medications and invasive surgeries. Go BioTarget Regenerative Treatment is available only at Injury Care Centers. Their innovative approach helps you recover faster and get back to doing what you love without drugs or surgery. Don't just treat the symptoms, target the root cause with BioTarget. Visit gobiotarget.com to learn more and schedule your appointment today.
Learn a little more about your team's freshest faces.
I think we're a contender right now.
Free agency profiles are brought to you by Universal Roof and Contracting. Experience the universal difference. Follow the off-season with Tire Outlet and 1010XL.
Hey everybody, Jennifer Marion with Randy Marion Cadillac in Jacksonville here to say hello, and we'd sure like to have your business.
You know what? They're gonna love the king of price.
My dad believes in making great deals and having a great selection in stock.
Cadillac XT4s, XT5s, and XT6s, and Escalades.
The all-electric Cadillac Lyriq.
CT4s and CT5s.
Cadillac luxury and selection is just waiting for you.
At Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville.
And don't forget, tell them Jennifer sent ya.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. From GFL, Green for Life.
The Players' Championship. Here's a 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Leaderboard update.
I'm Graham Marsh with this tournament update from the 50th Players' Championship. This update brought to you by Roundtree Sod and Kingfish Pest Control. 30-year-old Xander Schauffele took sole possession of the tournament lead late on Saturday. 4 front 9 birdies, followed by another birdie on the 14th hole, pushed Schauffele past reigning U.S. Open champion Wyndham Clark on Saturday's round. Schauffele currently sits at 17 under par, while Clark is just 1 stroke behind at 16 under par. Brian Harman currently owns the 3rd spot, while Matt Fitzpatrick and Maverick McNeely are tied for 4th at 13 under par. Sahit Theegala and last year's Players' Championship winner, Scotty Scheffler, are tied for 6th at 12 under par. Schauffele and Clark will tee off their final rounds with hopes to claim the 50th Players' Championship at 1:40 p.m. Scheffler, who has an opportunity to be the tournament's first ever repeat champion, tees off at 1:10 p.m., sitting 5 strokes behind the lead. Next update for the Players in 20 minutes.
XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Take your shot. It's Open Gym on 1010XL.
The Magic begin an 8-game, 16-day homestand at Kia Center. It's going to tie the longest homestand in their franchise's history. We'll have the game for you on 10:10 a.m. Pre-game, in-game, post-game beginning at 5:30 against the Toronto Raptors. To speak on all that and more with us, Philip Rossman-Reich joins us. He's the site expert and editor at Orlando Magic Daily, as well as the host on Locked On Magic. Philip, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
We are doing great. Thanks for giving us a couple moments of your time. So want to ask you this. I asked the listeners, do you have an idea who's the 5th greatest Magic player of all time? If I were to say Shaq, Dwight, Penny, and T-Mac are locked in as your 4, I know Paolo's potentially going to be that guy, but I don't want to give him the crown yet.
Yeah. Got to give him some time to build the base.
Right. So who would be the 5th guy in your opinion right now?
You know, this is probably the most hotly debated question in among my staff at Orlando Magic Daily. I think about this question a lot, and sometimes it can be about nostalgia, it can be about longevity.
Right.
If you ask me, if there's 4 shoo-ins to have their jerseys retired for the Magic now that Shaq's got his number 32 up in the rafters,
right,
I would put Nick Anderson in that list. But Nick Anderson never made an All-Star team, so.
Right.
It's possible that it's Nikola Vucevic. He's a 2-time All-Star. Didn't have the team success, but his numbers back up that he should be among the greatest players in Magic history. Grant Hill didn't play a lot, but his numbers are pretty good. You got Jameer Nelson, who's got a lot of records.
Absolutely.
You got Turkoglu. You got Rashard Lewis. There are a lot of guys vying for that number 5 spot, and honestly, it could just be what's your favorite flavor that day. But
Right.
I think I got to give it to someone from the 09 team, from someone who was part of a lot of success, and it's maybe just on the outside without maybe individual accolades. It might end up being Tito, but you put me on the spot for something that I debate a lot with people all the time. So there's definitely a lot of guys that deserve it, and Paolo Banchero, number 5 himself, is going to put himself in that conversation very, very quickly.
Absolutely. I have Hedo Turkoglu as my 5th as well. Loved him during his time with the Orlando Magic. Okay, so if you had a choice, as we move closer and closer to the NBA postseason, do you have a preference as to who you would like Orlando to face in the first round?
At this point, it's more who do I not want them to face, and that answers the Miami Heat. I don't want them to be anywhere near Miami. You look at this team, and they're just so young, and the playoffs are a completely different animal than the regular season. I mean,
Right.
they're just so different. And so, yes, Orlando has a 3-1 series victory over the New York Knicks. Well, the Knicks didn't have their full complement of players for any of those games.
Right.
No Julius Randle in one game, no Jalen Brunson in another, no OG Anunoby for a couple of them too. The Magic have never faced the Knicks at full strength. I do like that matchup, but I don't want to put them in a series with Jalen Brunson and what he can do, even against good defense. They have a season series victory over Indiana, but the one time they played them with Pascal Siakam, Indiana's defense got a lot better.
Yes.
They were able to shut down this Magic team. So, even that series doesn't feel that easy. If I did have a pick, it would be Indiana because of their similar inexperience. Maybe Philadelphia just because they may not have Embiid, but even without Embiid, Philadelphia ran roughshod over this Magic team. So at this point for the Magic, it's more about getting experience, more about getting a seat at the table, seeing what you can do, but they're not going to be the favorite to win any series that they play. So they just got to do their best to avoid the play-in, get into the playoffs, get that experience in a 7-game series, and then see what happens.
That's interesting for me because, I look at the New York Knicks as a team that, yes, you have won the season series. I just don't know if the New York Knicks, in my opinion, have gotten substantially better. They are a fun team to watch, but all those minutes that are being allocated to Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart, I'm just wondering if they're going to stay healthy by the time they get into the playoffs. I honestly do feel that maybe Orlando could surprise the New York Knicks in the first round if they are to meet each other.
I definitely feel that way too. Especially I know Julius Randle is a handful and a big time player for them, and he's set to come back fairly soon. I actually like their chances better with Julius Randle out there because he can't guard Paolo Banchero. Like
Right.
Paolo's had his way with him, and if the playoffs are all about matchups, that's a matchup that I actually like. Even if Randle is going to be able to score some points, he kind of stops the ball movement a little bit. But they've been a very different team since OG Anunoby came back. So I think they're very concerned about OG Anunoby's elbow issue, and I know that he left one of their games recently, flexing that elbow again. That team, when OG Anunoby was healthy and everyone was healthy, that's the reason they're in this spot in the 4-5 range. They still beat Sacramento last night, but they're a very capable team, and frankly, some of it is also coaching. Jamal Mosley, as good of a coach as he is, has never been a head coach in the playoffs. Going up against an experienced coach like Tom Thibodeau, even like I said, every coach in the East has experience except for Jamal Mosley.
Right.
He's going like a young player. He's going to make a mistake somewhere that may cost the team a game, and that that's going to be disappointing. But he's got to learn. He's got to go through those learning paces too.
Philip Rossman-Reich, our guest, site expert and editor at Orlando Magic Daily, as well as the host of Locked On Magic. You speak on Jamal Mosley. Big news for him. Gets a 4-year contract extension. For you as a fan and as a guy who covers the team, what were your first thoughts when Jamal first got hired, and what have been your thoughts on the job he's done since that time?
Yeah, when the Magic hired Mosley, you just don't know what to expect. We've kind of been through this ringer before as a franchise where they're beginning a rebuild. They're beginning kind of a reset of the whole roster, and they bring in a first-time head coach. And this is not to offend Jacques Vaughn, who, went on to Brooklyn, did some very good things at Brooklyn before he got let go this year. But you just don't know. You have no clue. But you could tell almost instantly why players love Jamal Mosley. Like he's very personable. He's very intentional about what he does and what he says. And you could tell why there's this charisma and magnetism about him. And then you could also see that he had a very clear vision for what his team wanted to do.
Right.
Yet, coaches always come up with their buzzwords and their coach speak. But he really started putting it into action. You could see the seeds of it very early on, when he didn't have a team that was meant to be competitive. And so to see him build this team up and build its culture up, more importantly, from day one to here to year 3, they've gotten better. The results are there. They went from 22 wins to 34 wins to now 38, 39 wins already this season.
Right.
The results are there. You can clearly see that progression. And when you hear players talk about him, you can tell how much that they love him, how much they fight for him, how much he fights for them. They've built a really special culture here. And obviously, it takes more than that first contract, that first 4-year contract to kind of get you into the playoffs and into competing at a higher level. He earned that extension to continue the work that he's done and to see if he could elevate his coaching and his team as much as anything else.
Should he be a candidate for Coach of the Year this season, in your opinion?
I absolutely think so. I think he should be. I mean, obviously, there's been some incredible coaching jobs this year. Joe Mazzulla with Boston, obviously, they're just running away with this thing with a lot of new players and kind of having to reshape their culture. Mark Danielle from Oklahoma City has done an incredible job. Chris Finch with Minnesota has kind of done the same thing, like building a team to keep growing and expanding on their playoff success. But what Jamal Mosley's done is not easy. The Magic are going to improve by 10 games for the second straight year. And I always remember this. Scott Skiles said this after the Magic won 35 games, I think in 2016. He said it's easy to go from 25 to 35. Going from 35 to 45 is much harder. The Magic are about to do that. They're about to go from 35 to 45 wins.
Right.
And that is a credit to Jamal Mosley. Their offense, if you look at the stats, the Magic have the worst offense in the league among all teams that are in playoff contention or in playoff position right now. They will likely enter the playoffs with the worst offense among playoff teams. They've had a top 5 defense the entire season.
Right.
He's got young players who may not have been known as defenders in college or in their careers previous to this to defend at an extremely high level. That's a really difficult thing to do, and that's been their ticket to success this season.
Philip Rossman-Reich, our guest. He is the host of Locked On Magic, as well as the site expert and editor at Orlando Magic Daily. So when you think of the Orlando Magic, at least for myself, of course you're going to think of guys like Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner, as well as Wendell Carter Jr. But in your opinion, Jalen Suggs has had an incredible year. He's been, big for the Orlando Magic, not only in this rebuild, but just this season. How important has he been to this ball club?
He's probably the most important player. I mean, yes, Paolo's going to have the ball in his hands to take the last shot. Franz scores a lot of points. They get their energy from Jalen Suggs. Like, he sets the tone for them defensively. He just gets after players and kind of blows up action defensively. His three-point shooting has honestly been the biggest revelation from him. He's shooting, I think, 38, 39% from three this year after shooting 32 last year and 27, 28 the year before in his rookie year. His growth and his confidence as a shooter, along with his kind of audaciousness and physicality on defense, that's what sets the tone for the Magic. Like, right. I think Paolo said after one of the games this week, Jalen Suggs is our heart and soul. And that is 100% the truth, because he has no regard for his body. He will throw himself into any situation. He's going to really kind of take out your point guard or take out your best perimeter player defensively. He sets the tone for everything this team does. And again, just it's a culture where everyone wants to play hard. Jalen Suggs plays hard and forces everyone to meet his energy level, which is really, really tough to do. Like, he's had an incredible year. He should be on the all defensive team. It'll be a shame if he's not, because he's been that good for this Magic group.
Final moments with Philip Rossman-Reich. So, as said at the top, tonight the Magic begin an 8-game, 16-day homestand at the Kia Center. And the last half of this schedule, we've talked about it after the All-Star break, not incredibly difficult. You do have games against Milwaukee. The Clippers come into town. Sacramento's going to be here, even Golden State. But you should be able to handle your business for the most part to remain out of the play-in game. How important is it for this team to finish strong and have a high seed going into the playoffs, in your opinion?
Yeah, it's important just for confidence. Like, this is a young team that's never had to do this before. We bring this up a little bit with players too, but only 4 guys on this team have ever played playoff basketball, and it's Joe Ingles, who had a long career with the Utah Jazz. It's Gary Harris, who spent a lot of time with the Denver Nuggets. And then it's Markelle Fultz and Jonathan Isaac, who are part of the 2019 and 2020 playoff teams. Isaac didn't play in the 2020 playoffs because of the injury.
Right.
This is a team that just doesn't have a lot of experience. And, I tell my listeners and my readers this all the time, like, as much fun as this playoff run has been, this season's still not really about this season. This season's about getting the experience, going through a playoff chase, building up wins, learning how to win, and getting to the playoffs and seeing what that experience is like, and learning how do you adjust how do you adjust in a series? How do you play a playoff game? Like you think it's easy, but it's intense. And the Magic have to do everything they can to make that part of their job easier, to make that part of accomplishing that goal easier. Like, getting in the play-in for me isn't the worst thing in the world, because the reason why I love the play-in is it gives young teams like the Magic, who might otherwise have been in like a 7-8, a 2-7 or a 1-8 matchup, and get swept or win or play a 5-game series. It gives them a chance to feel like a Game 7 pressure and feel the intensity of a must-win game that they have to win, and then the chance to experience success in that. But there's also the risk that you fall out. And same thing as the playoffs. The teams that the Magic would face in a potential play-in, you're Miami, maybe you're Indiana, maybe it's Chicago or Atlanta in the elimination game.
Right.
Those teams have more experience than this Magic team. So there's a chance that they could fall out. They need to be in a 7-game series. That's going to be the best thing for their growth. If this season is still about growing and developing, they need to be in a 7-game series, regardless of who it's against. And the best way to do that is to make sure you get in the field as a top 6 seed. The Magic should be in line to do that with the way their schedule sets up, with how much they dominate bad teams under 500. I think they're 22-6 against teams under 500, and 5 of those losses are to the Hawks and the Nets. Right. This homestand is a big opportunity to kind of stamp their place in the playoffs and build some confidence heading into a postseason experience that they've never had.
All right, Philip, before we let you go, tell the listeners how they can get a hold of you and your podcast and all the other work you're doing with the Magic.
Yeah. The best place to find my work is at OrlandoMagicDaily.com. It's a website covering the team. We cover the team from all different angles. We do some history stuff as well, especially in the off season. You can follow us there on Twitter at OMagicDaily. You can also check out my work at Locked On Magic. That's my daily podcast covering the Orlando Magic. So it's up every morning. So if you need a daily dose of Orlando Magic, or just check it on what's going on with the team, you can download that podcast wherever you download podcasts, as well as check it out on YouTube.
That's Philip Rossman Reich, the site expert and editor at Orlando Magic Daily, as well as the host of Locked On Magic. Philip, thank you so much for a couple moments of your time. Hopefully we can do this again by the time the playoffs come around.
Absolutely. We'll see y'all in the playoffs.
There he goes, Philip Rossman Reich. Great insight there on the Orlando Magic, who are still vying for playoff positioning within the NBA's Eastern Conference. The Orlando Magic play tonight against the Raptors at home. We'll have that game for you here beginning at 5:30 on 1010 a.m. We have an Orlando Magic giveaway, 2 tickets plus a swag bag to the March 23rd contest against the Sacramento Kings. Once we come back from break, call in to the show, be caller number 2, and those tickets are yours. And with the swag bag, come into the station anytime this week between 9 and 5 to collect your swag bag. When we come back, we'll have a conversation with Sean Powell, the senior writer at NBA.com. Going to give us a look at the NBA from a macro level. That's next here on Open Gym on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish. And he's listening to the Nimnicht Outdoor Show.
With tips and stories.
Presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services.
Every Saturday morning, 7 to 10.
On 1010XL.
Get ready for the Players' Championship, March 12th through 17th at TPC Sawgrass. Don't miss your chance to watch the PGA Tour's best compete to etch their name in history while enjoying a vibrant social scene. From local bites to the latest merchandise available in the PGA Tour fan shop, the Players offers the ultimate experience for everyone to enjoy. Secure your spot today. Tickets are on sale now at theplayers.com.
I'm Jeff Middlecoff with Trustline Mortgage. My business partners, Alan Tyre, Bill Pappas, and Ken Rimley, have been helping first-time homebuyers with their mortgage financing all over Florida for 34 years. First-time homebuyers can get no or low down payments, anywhere from 0 to 3.5% down. As a first-time homebuyer with Trustline Mortgage, you get added benefits for doing your loan with us, like lower rates on your mortgage insurance and lower closing costs. Oh, and did I forget to mention that Trustline gives first-time homebuyers better mortgage interest rates? Here's the bottom line. Trustline Mortgage wants to help first-time homebuyers accomplish your goal of home ownership. That's why Trustline Mortgage is offering the best first-time homebuyer benefits around, period. Trustline Mortgage delivers with no and low down payments, lower closing costs, and better interest rates. Call Trustline Mortgage today at 381-LOAN. Yes, 381-LOAN to find out how we can help you buy your dream home. Or visit our website at trustlinemortgage.com. Trust your instincts and follow the line to Trustline Mortgage.
Certain restrictions apply. See office for details. Trustline is an equal housing opportunity. MLS number 331480.
Hey gang, Hicken here. March is Workplace Eye Wellness Awareness Month. Here's a tip for those in front of a computer all day. Follow the 20-20-20 rule. Set a timer as a reminder to look 20 feet away every 20 minutes for 20 seconds. This can be as simple as looking away from your computer screen or out the window. If virtual meetings keep you in your seat for extended time, shut your eyes for 20 seconds. Call or visit BowdenEye.com today to schedule your consultation. Bowden Eye, keeping the First Coast focused.
It's March basketball. That means a host of top teams will be competing for the NCAA title. When it comes to commercial painters, there's also some healthy competition out there. Jason Parker with Performance Painting. To help you know the right questions to ask any painter competing for your business this year, visit performancepaintingjax.com. Or if you're ready for a friendly quote, give us a call and ask about our free pressure wash promotion for your next project. Performance Painting, quality coatings applied with pride.
Performance Painting!
It's Kubota Orange Days, your golden chance to score a deal that will make your neighbors green with envy. Shop the year's best selection of Kubota tractors, zero-turn mowers, and utility vehicles, including the #1 selling compact tractor in the USA. And get the year's best deals, like 0% APR for 84 months, or up to $3,300 off L3302 tractors. Coastal Equipment on New Kings Road and in McClenny.
Coastal Equipment.
When is the best time to buy a Yamaha Wave Runner? Right now. Make a splash this summer on a new Wave Runner from Ride Now Power Sports. No matter how you like to ride, Ride Now Power Sports has the model to fit your style. And for a limited time, receive a 5-year extended warranty on select new Yamaha Wave Runner purchases. Maximum fun, now with maximum protection. Only at Ride Now Power Sports in Jacksonville, 6407 Landing Boulevard, or online at ridenowjacksonville.com.
Hey, Hicken here, or just call me Danny Dreamfinders. For a limited time, on select move-in ready homes, Dreamfinders Homes is offering an amazing 3.99% interest rate in year one of your mortgage. Now is your chance to lock down the rate. You heard me right. 3.99% offer in year one. Visit DreamfindersHomes.com for sales event information and get the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to DreamfindersHomes.com for more details.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville. I know Honda, they're so cool on the road and off the road, but guess what? Tell them about them being on the water.
There is an all-new Honda boat coming out. We went out and partnered with Scout, who's been making the finest holes in the business for years. They're fuel-efficient, dynamic, and class-leading.
So Honda is in the boat business, and you will see boats coming to Cycles of Jacksonville soon.
We will have them in the spring, ready to go.
CyclesofJacksonville.com. Keep track of all of it. Find them on Atlantic near Regency.
Wherever you go, there we are.
I know. I checked online.
1010XL is on your smartphone and tablet. Download our free app for all devices and take us with you around Duval and around the world.
Monahan Jewelers is the place for GIA certified diamonds and fine jewelry since 1977. It's TPC week and the ladies deserve some TPC bling, so Monahan Jewelers is celebrating with 5-year interest-free financing on all purchases. Buy 1-carat diamond studs for as low as $39 a month. Get a $9,000 engagement ring for $150 a month. Whatever the purchase, get 5 years interest-free. We're your local family jeweler, so support us and get the best deals on the greatest selection of fine jewelry. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
The Players Championship. Here's a 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Leaderboard update.
I'm Graham Marsh with this tournament update from the 50th Players Championship. This update brought to you by Beaver Automotive Group and Monahan Jewelers. 30-year-old Xander Schauffele took sole possession of the tournament lead late on Saturday. 4 front nine birdies, followed by another birdie on the 14th hole, pushed Schauffele past reigning U.S. Open champion Wyndham Clark on Saturday's round. Schauffele currently sits at 17 under par, while Clark is 1 stroke behind at 16 under par. Brian Harman currently owns the 3rd spot, while Matt Fitzpatrick and Maverick McNeely are tied for 4th at 13th under par. Sahit Theegala and last year's Players' Championship winner Scottie Scheffler are tied for 6th at 12 under par. Schauffele and Clark will tee off their final rounds with hopes to claim the 50th Players' Championship at 1:40 p.m. Scheffler, who has an opportunity to be the tournament's first ever repeat champion, tees off at 1:10 p.m., sitting 5 strokes behind the lead. Next update for the Players in 20 minutes.
XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville, it's all hoops. Open Gym on 1010XL.
It's the final round of the Players' Championship. We're keeping you updated here every 20 minutes or so on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. And we're also keeping you updated on the latest around the NBA on a little show we like to call Open Gym. So glad you are with us. RJ Saunders here with you. On the All-Pro Roofing phone line, dropping gems within the gym, is Sean Powell. He's a senior writer at NBA.com. You can follow him on Twitter at Powell to the People. That's Powell, the number 2, spelled D-A, People. And he's so kind enough to join us here on the program. Sean, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Absolutely. I mean, that's fantastic to hear. And I just want to ask you a couple of questions from around the league because, you know, I've spoken to experts here on the program ad nauseum about who's been a sleeper team for them or who's been a disappointment this season. But I just want to get in your opinion. Who's been a team that's been a pleasant surprise to you?
Well, I think you can nominate one team would be the Indiana Pacers, if only because they went to the in-season tournament championship game. I'm not so sure a lot of people saw them there. You could also say the Orlando Magic, you know, currently a top 5 team actually in the East.
Right.
Very young team, played really good defense, and I think that they would be a little bit of a surprise. But, you know, I'm going to reach a little bit here. I'm going to say the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I say that because the team seemed to be in kind of disarray last year. They weren't sure if Karl-Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert could mesh.
Right.
And then, lo and behold, for much of the season, they either been in first place in the West or within a game or a game and a half of first place in the West. And I don't think a lot of people saw Minnesota having that kind of staying power.
You know, there's a team within the Eastern Conference that I really can't put my finger on quite yet as to what and who they are, and that's the Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, you make the trade in the offseason for Damian Lillard, and you thought that you were going to have this meteoric rise and set the league on fire, similarly to what the Boston Celtics are doing, and you make a coaching change in the middle of the season. Doc Rivers is now heading that ship. It just doesn't seem that they flipped the switch entirely quite yet. Could we see them do that come playoff time, or is this a team that could get upset early come postseason?
Those are great questions, and I'm sure the Milwaukee Bucks themselves are asking those type of questions as well. I'm not so sure they know. Anytime you fire a coach in the middle of the season on a contending team,
right?
That's never a good sign. And I know Doc Rivers has come in and sort of tried to stabilize the situation, but there's only so much he can do in the middle of the season. I'm going to be fair to them. Chris Middleton has, suffered some injury. Damian Lillard has needed some time to mesh, particularly on the screen and roll with Giannis.
Right.
And when you look at the standings in the East, in terms of position, they probably are where they should have been all along.
Okay.
Second to the Boston Celtics. So you can quibble with the fact that, they've lost some games they probably shouldn't have lost.
Right.
The fact that they're so far behind the Boston Celtics. But I always thought this team was going to be second best in the East. And lo and behold, so far, arguably, they're second best in the East.
Sean Powell, our guest, he is the senior writer at NBA.com, does a phenomenal job there as an analyst, and he is giving us the news and notes from across the association. So you wrote an article not too long ago that was just highlighting things across the NBA, and one of the things that you wanted to highlight was whether or not the New York Knicks are a much improved team from a season prior. And I'd probably argue with you that there are a lot of New York Knicks fans that believe this is a much better team than from a year ago with acquisitions like OG Anunoby. You see what Jalen Brunson is doing, and he was named an all-star. However, Candace Parker on the NBA on TNT not too long ago had a question where she said, are the Knicks going to be able to stay healthy by the time the playoffs come around? And you see those minutes being allocated to Josh Hart and Dante DiVincenzo and Jalen Brunson, and you're waiting on Julius Randle to come back. You're waiting on Mitchell Robinson to come back. Do you think that this team runs the risk of running out of gas come postseason?
You know, it's crazy. 10, 15, 20 years ago, nobody would have even thought to ask that question.
Right.
Because that's what players and teams did. Karl Malone would play 39, 40 minutes a night. Michael Jordan would play all 82 games, plus every game in the preseason, plus go on deep postseason runs. And no one even thought about, oh, no, Michael Jordan, he's playing.
Yeah.
So on one hand, I can see that. On the other hand, I would like to think that the Knicks know their players.
Okay.
We're not talking about players who have a deep injury history. You can't find that with Jalen Brunson. You can't find that with Dante DiVincenzo. You can't find that with any of the players who are so-called playing a lot of minutes.
Right.
So I'll have to give them a pass. They know their personnel better than I do. And they probably feel that these players, and we're talking young players, by the way,
right.
They feel that these players, their bodies are to the point where they can handle the minutes and the load.
Sean Powell, our guest, he is the senior writer at NBA.com. Who's your most valuable player this season? Joel Embiid seemed to be a guy who was leading the clubhouse. However, he gets injured. He hasn't played a minimum of 65 games. Therefore, that makes him ineligible to win the award. So, in your opinion, who walks away with league MVP?
Well, that's an easy one. That's Nikola Jokic. He continues to play the game like it's supposed to be played. And by that, he doesn't care about stats, doesn't care about putting up big numbers. He cares about winning and doing whatever it takes for his team to win. He sets up his teammates beautifully. He takes shots when he has to take shots. In the post, he has that nice little finger roll whoop shot.
Yeah.
He can shoot from the outside, and he can see the floor from all angles of the floor. I mean, some players, you put them on the floor, they can't see the floor, they can't function. He can function all over the floor, and the Denver Nuggets, lo and behold, are right at the top in the West.
Right.
Again, other players have had good years, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Luka Doncic, and of course, if Joel Embiid had stayed healthy, and if he would have kept putting up the numbers that he put up before he got hurt, I would have probably favored him, but that's not the case.
I just want to get a couple thoughts from you on a few things before we let you go. Sean Powell, our guest senior writer at NBA.com here on the program. JJ Redick was interviewing Devin Booker not too long ago, and he made a very interesting comment when it came to Kevin Durant. And he said, quote, "We're going to look back in the next 10 to 15 years and be like, why the hell, to clean it up for you, did we spend all this time with all the BS discourse and not appreciate literally one of the greatest basketball players to ever play this game?" Do you think that diehard basketball fans, even some members of the media, spent too much time in the LeBron, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant era criticizing what they did in terms of the moves that they made in their careers instead of just appreciating the talent in which they were?
I'm kind of confused at this so-called creative controversy. What do you mean we haven't appreciated Kevin Durant? Wasn't he voted MVP?
Right.
Upwards of $300 million?
Right.
Wasn't he voted MVP twice in the NBA Finals? Doesn't he have all sort of endorsement powers? I'm confused. LeBron James, hasn't he been voted by the media MVP multiple times?
Right.
Has he been voted by the media multiple times the NBA Finals MVP? Isn't he worth close to $1 billion?
Right.
Where is the disrespect? So I think a lot of times, because you have so many talking heads, And all of a sudden it becomes like an echo chamber. And some of these talking heads really aren't, quote unquote, trained to be a talking head. They just put a microphone in front of them.
Right.
I think sometimes controversy is created. It comes out of nowhere only because people have to have something to talk about, and they're not creative enough to talk about something that's legitimate. So whenever I hear about all-time greats not getting respect, I'm kind of confused by that.
Well, okay, if I can, let me try to play devil's advocate for J.J. Redick. I understand it. It seems that there's this big divide between NBA fans that would say, on one side, look, we understand that LeBron James honored his contract with the Cleveland Cavaliers and he could elect to go wherever he wanted. But it's so taboo for a guy of his caliber and a guy of his star power to decide to not go to another team, be the vocal point, and have a team build around him. No, he decides to go to this super roster with Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade and shift the balance of power in the NBA in ways we had never seen it before. Kevin Durant follows suit. He honored his contract with the Oklahoma City Thunder and elects to go to a 73-win roster and a Warriors team that had already won a championship without him. Now he's shifting the balance of power not only in the Western Conference, but the NBA as a whole. It just seems to me that as long as there is NBA fans on the planet, they're going to look at it one side or the other. You're going to have one side that's going to say, listen, we saw Bill Russell, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, Dirk Nowitzki. They all stayed with one team. What LeBron James and Kevin Durant did was completely out of the atmosphere of our thought process. And now you have guys like Larry Bird trying to say, hey, listen, stop whining about LeBron. This is one of the greatest talents we've ever seen play the game of basketball. But there does seem to be that myriad of fans who are going to say, I don't care if he is one of the greatest. What he did in terms of shifting the balance of power and doing things we had never seen before, I'll never really respect him as a player.
Okay, again, I'm confused by the quote-unquote controversy. I think a lot of times because you have so many media people speaking, media people don't comment on the game as much as they comment on what another media person says. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I personally, as a media person, I could care less what another media person says. That's your opinion. Fine, I don't care. I care what I say.
Right.
And I base my opinion not on what another media person says. I base my opinion on what I see.
Absolutely.
And again, I think a lot of times in this day and age, with everybody having a microphone, with social media, and just this.
Jacksonville's top back is now 1010XL's. Fred Taylor joins Dan and Jeff on The Drill Monday mornings at 8:30. Monday Morning Running Back with Fred Taylor.
Brought to you by Epstein & Robbins DUI Defense Firm on 1010XL.
Have you tried golfing at the improved Cimarron Golf Club? If you haven't, tell you what, you're missing out on the best deal in Jacksonville. Now, many of you have received a postcard in the mail, and of course, if you bring that with you, $45 plus tax to play. That includes a cart, lunch, and a beer at the brand new Stone Barrel Tap House. Now, go to the website, that is CimarronGolfClub.com, and sign up for the Wild One Loyalty Program. That's the Wild One Loyalty Program, and get all of these specials emailed to you from Cimarron.
This March, Wendy's has some amazing deals on their hamburgers made with fresh, never frozen beef.
Like a juicy Dave's single for $1 and a fresh $2 Dave's double with in-app offer.
It's such a good deal, we wrote a little ditty about it.
Get it for $1. Dave's single, order in the app. Dave's single, get it for $1. Choose wisely, choose Wendy's, official hamburger March Madness.
Limited time offer. Participating U.S. Wendy's. See offer details and redeem at Wendy's app. Account registration required. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S. and Alaska.
Atlantic Self Storage, the official storage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Garage getting too full with stuff? Need a place to park your boat or RV? Store it all at Atlantic Self Storage. Tons of locations in Northeast Florida. 24-hour access and month-to-month rental agreements. Moving, they can help with supplies. Heading to the players? Look for the storage locker and free bag check at the fan gift shop courtesy of Atlantic Self Storage. Go to AtlanticSelfStorage.com to find the location and move-in special closest to you.
Don here from Taco Lou. Now that football season has come and gone, and it's getting a little warmer outside, it must be time for more golf. At least for us anyway. If you love golf and you love tacos, we've got your spot out at 12. Tacos on 12, of course. It's time for the players, and we couldn't be more excited. We'll be slinging tacos behind 12 Green all week long. You golf fans make your way, our way, for a great bite, and maybe even a margarita or two. We'll be live at the players.
Sports sounds better on radio.
I love it. I love it.
You get the most live sports on 1010XL, the Players' Championship. Here's a 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Leaderboard update.
I'm Graham Marsh with this tournament update from the 50th Players' Championship. This update brought to you by Taco Lou and Atlantic Self Storage. 30-year-old Xander Schauffele took sole possession of the tournament lead late on Saturday. 4 front 9 birdies, followed by another birdie on the 14th hole, pushed Schauffele past reigning U.S. Open champion Wyndham Clark on Saturday's round. Schauffele currently sits at 17 under par, while Clark is just 1 stroke behind at 16 under par. Brian Harman currently owns the 3rd spot, while Matt Fitzpatrick and Maverick McNeely are tied for 4th at 13 under par. Sahit Theegala and last year's Players' Champion winner Scotty Scheffler are tied for 6th at 12 under par. Schauffele and Clark will tee off their final rounds with hopes to claim the 50th Players' Championship at 1:40 p.m. Scheffler, who has a chance to be the first ever repeat champion, tees off at 1:10 p.m., sitting 5 strokes behind the lead. Next update for the players in 20 minutes.
XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville, your courtside on Open Gym on 1010XL.
Thank you so much to Sean Powell as well as Philip Rossman Reich, both our guests here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM's Open Gym. Before we get out of here, I do want to give a special shout out to my alma mater, the FSCJ Blue Waves, the men's basketball team, heading to the National Junior College Athletic Association D2 National Championship. They won 25-8 this year, won a myriad of championships this season. This now marks the first time in their history that the men's basketball team is going to compete for a national title. This is going to be held in Illinois. They'll be playing against Howard Community College tomorrow. Great times. I mean, I wouldn't be what I am without the good folks at FSCJ. To see the basketball team doing what they're doing is outstanding. Hopefully you guys are able to support the team as well. I know we talk a lot about UNF and we talk a lot about FSCJ, UNF and JU. FSCJ doesn't get too much love, but we're going to do that here on Open Gym. The Orlando Magic, it's game time. It's go time now for this young squad. 8-game, 16-day homestand, a lot of time at home. And no better time than this part of the season where you're jockeying for position, you're vying for position. If you can handle your business at home, you may have the 4. Maybe. New York Knicks look really good right now, and they still don't have their full squad back. And like Philip Rossman Reich said, they may be a team that you want to avoid. I believe that they are a team that you could potentially beat in the first round. All those minutes that you're giving to Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson and Dante DiVincenzo, we'll figure that out once we know who Orlando is going to face in the first round. That's going to do it for us here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. We'll talk more about the college basketball ranks. Next Sunday, we'll have a couple college basketball analysts join us on the program. For Casey Dobson, I'm RJ Saunders. We'll talk to you next week on Open Gym.
When you hear a great call on 1010XL, telephone communique, it's covered by the All Pro Roofing phone line.
If you'd like any further information, just call me.
Listen for